Hello and welcome to Don't Feed the Geeks, presented by the Long Island Comic Guys, the masters of the geeky verse. Well, welcome back, Geek Freaks. I am TC, joined as always by JJ.
What up, gentlemen?
And Toy Story.
Good evening, guys.
So, guys, we have got a hot topic for you today. It's going to get heated. We're going to be more animated than even usual. You're probably either going to love or you're going to hate what we're going to say. But, we'll get into more of that later. Hopefully you tune the whole way through because we are doing our good, the bad, and the ugly 80s awesome movie review. Or what?
The good, the bad, and the geeky.
Oh, shh, Miss Sugar and I messed it up.
You're doing so well.
No, I was on fire for a second. I felt like I levitated off the ground for a couple seconds there. Yeah, but we're doing the Last Starfighter. It's been a while since we did a movie review. It won by literally one vote over Big.
It's my wife. It's my wife.
Joel is saying it was her. I don't know. So yeah. So next time we do one, it'll be Big versus something else, and we'll see what happens. Now, I'm sure that intro got you guys wanting to get right into the thick of it, but we're going to leave you on pins and needles for a little bit longer, and we're going to turn it over to Toy Story for the Geek Beat.
Thank you. Just a couple things before we get into our hot topic. So first this week, it was finally announced that the Netflix series Sandman, based on Neil Gaiman's iconic comic book series, obviously after a year and a half after being picked up, finally has a cast and is set to begin production very soon.
This is like a manga, right? It's like a graphic.
No, it was published by DC.
What's that?
It was published by DC.
Was it DC or Vertigo?
Yeah, I think it was Vertigo, but that's DC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Oh, you're saying it's a show animated?
Yeah, is it an animation? Because I remember when we watched that DC show, I thought they were showing a lot of animation, like that DC, like that. Remember when Disney did the Investor Day, but like a couple months before that, DC did something. Was like, wow, that was pretty cool, and then we forgot all about it because
this is live action. Yeah, this is live action. So they finally announced the casting, and Game of Thrones fans will notice that Gwendolyn Christie is going to be playing Lucifer.
I did hear that people were buzzing on the internet about excitement for Game of Thrones castings. I do like her. She is a really great actor.
Have you guys read this book? Probably not, right?
I have
not my thing.
It's like I've read it a couple times. It's very much in that Alan Moore kind of category,
Yeah,
Alan Moore and Gaiman are all in that to get that same area of very, very like thought-provoking, weird, stories.
I feel like Alan Moore is a little better though, and Alan Moore hates Gaiman too, right? I think I found that out.
I don't know. They did work on Miracle Man separate, like the same run, but one after the other. I don't know if they did it together. But
yeah, I do recall like while we were doing research for Vendetta, like they don't like each other, or at least Alan Moore doesn't like Neil Gaiman. Whatever. I'm sure I'll check it out if it's any good.
I'm excited. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the book, so I'm really excited to see this finally.
And it's Netflix, you said?
Yes.
Netflix. Interesting that they're not going HBO Max.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
Now that you brought up HBO Max, I just saw today Justice League March 26th.
Oh, was it? Oh, something else was March 26th. Oh, yeah, something I'm more interested in. Well, we'll get into that later. So he has confirmed that it's going to be a single showing, single 4 hours.
So they're not splitting it up into 4 episodes.
No, he says it will not be. I was like,
nope.
Okay.
It's going to be a long night.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, next up, Boom Studios is releasing a book called Berserker very soon. I think we all have pre-ordered the Royal Collectibles original variant cover.
Yeah, I got some regulars coming.
Yes. But so they announced this 1 in 1,000 variant that's going to be signed by Keanu Reeves, who's working on the book. And JJ found out today that it's going to be priced at like $2,800.
That's insane.
Which is kind of in line for 1 in 1,000s, actually, now that I think about it.
So you know what actually happened though? I think there was, for the Kickstarter, you could have actually got $1,000 copy of the book. This was unsigned, granted. So this I'm assuming is a 9.8, right? Ungraded.
Yeah. Yep.
I meant to say it's ungraded.
It's great. I think it's graded.
The one from the Kickstarter was ungraded, but I think for like $1,000 you got a signed one as well. But
the ones on Kickstarter was $2,500.
oh, was it?
Yeah,
and that was ungraded. I think there was 2 levels though. I think that was the max level. I think there was $1,000 level where you just got signed by him.
So crazy. I mean, you're paying for his autograph, so I mean, does he? I don't know.
It's cool if you're a fan, but how much money have we spent on stupid autographs?
I love him, but like I don't love him like that. Like I think he's a great guy, and I enjoy most of his movies, but
he's one of those guys who, because we all know, like he's out in the public a lot. He takes public transportation. I mean, to go up to him and say, "Hey, can you sign this?"
Does he really?
Oh God!
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
He's a very public guy. Like public as in
he's not like the guy who will rent a car service or limo to go somewhere.
Yeah, he's very down to earth. He doesn't wear flashy clothes or anything. There's like a viral video like someone took of him. Like he was sitting on the subway and like everyone was sitting down, and like some woman like came on the train and he got up and said, "Oh, please sit down." And like he didn't know the guy was like recording him or anything. No one reacted that he was on the train. So, all right, let's move on.
All right,
he's great. I don't want the autograph.
Next up, we got a new trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong. Did you guys watch it?
Dude, I'm not
insane.
I'm not even into monsters, and I was like, I have to see this.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I like the King Kong movies a lot when I was a kid.
Did you see the other movies, TC?
Yes, I saw Godzilla. I didn't see the most recent one.
Did you see the King Kong?
I saw the King Kong movie with Jack Black. That was the last one I saw. That was different.
Yeah, no.
That was different.
The one with the whole Marvel cast.
No, I didn't see that.
The latest one. And then right after that was.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth Olsen was in it, right?
No. It was, Captain Marvel chick, Samuel L. Jackson, and Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, Elizabeth Olsen was in Godzilla.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Well, what's her name? Seven's in Godzilla too, right?
Yeah.
Bobby Brown. She's such a great actress. I think she's going to be a huge star.
She's excellent, yeah.
But yeah, this is exciting. I mean, it looks awesome.
Yeah, I would like to see it in the movie theater, but if not, I'm fine watching it at home. Yeah. There's no date for that yet, right? It just says 2021 still.
Yeah, I think so.
They're undecided what they're going to do with it, probably.
No, but I did see it listed as HBO Max and movie theaters.
Oh, it's just not a date yet?
It's going to be an HBO Max movie.
I think they're probably like still trying to push it a little bit because they want that movie cast. Like if things open up, I feel like there's definitely going to be more people that are going to want to see that in the theater.
Definitely. All right, next up. Another trailer, The Mighty Ducks Game Changers. JJ,
I just saw this today. Interesting.
I watched the first Mighty Ducks, and I saw it only like once a long time ago.
Yeah. You want to just sign off for the rest of the episode there, Christopher?
I have seen it, though.
I mean, we got my daughter to watch it the other day, and she wasn't into it at first, and then she kind of got into it. And then she like asked to watch it again the other night, so I guess she liked it.
Wow.
But like I saw, like it's kind of cute. Like it's got Lauren, what's her name? I think it's Lauren Graham, the girl from some WB show. I can't remember the name. That Gilmore Girls. That girl, the dark-haired girl who played the mother, and the Emilio Estevez is in it again. Then a bunch of kids. It seems a little like it's so funny. Like when I watched that movie, like when I was a kid, it didn't seem like as like childish of a movie. This seems like really like more suited for like kids. Then I don't know. It could just be because like I remember watching it as a kid, but I think it's something cool. I think me and my daughter may check it out. And
I think it's more, seeing that it's on Disney Plus, and I think they're trying to push. They're trying to get that not the toddlers or the adults, but the people in between. And I think this is that show that would do that.
I think so too, and I think Noelle will like it. And I'll probably like it. But it looked like a nice show. It looked like a cute show.
I'm hoping they'll bring some of the old cast members from the movies into it every so often. I don't know.
I mean, not all those guys are big stars, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some. It'd be cool if like some of them are like parents, like maybe they have like a love interest with Lauren Graham or something.
Nice. All right, next up we got the Superman and Lois 2-hour premiere. Will be coming out on February 23rd.
Yes. So I initially had zero care about this until I saw the preview, and I was like, "You sons of guns! You actually got me."
You got me.
There's a preview for this.
There was a preview for it. It actually looks really good.
Didn't see it. All right, I'll check it out.
I would check it out. Is it
related to anything else, or can I watch it?
No, I would just watch it. I'm not watching anything else. Like I think I keep recording Flash. Every other show on CW I've deleted from my recordings. I haven't watched like 18 episodes of Flash. I'm probably going to give that up. If anything, I may just watch this one until it goes bad, where they all normally do on the CW. But I mean, from the trailer, it looks very, very well done.
I'll check that out.
I'll have to check it out.
I haven't watched a CW show since season 2 of Arrow when that was live.
The last good one was the Deathstroke one, and after that, it was.
All right, next up, Titans season 3 has casted Jay Lycurgo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, as Tim Drake.
Do we know this guy from anything?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I have no idea. I've never seen it before. I saw his picture and I didn't recognize him.
So that's the third Robin, right? Do we have everyone? Well, from the boys, from the early boys until there was other Robins that came along.
Yeah.
Yes.
He also has a supporting role in the Batman movie.
Oh, like the new one? Imagine he plays Tim Drake in that too.
So are they crossing over? Maybe.
Could be.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to eventually watch that. It seems like they're bringing a decent amount of new characters. I mean, Barbara Gordon got announced like last week too, right? So
that's right.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
So I had one last one to talk about before we go into our hot topic. I just read and picked up my copies of our good buddy Tom Travers's.
I got mine. Oh, you gonna make me take mine out?
One Hat Studios presents. I got my sign.
It's somewhere.
So I wound up getting 3 copies of this.
Here's the stickers.
All right, that's good.
The stickers are on my wall, on my door.
Nice.
My sticker door. So yeah, I sent up 2 copies to CGC to get graded.
Did
I was like,
really?
Give me your minty. Yeah, I gave it to Best and asked them to send them to get graded.
Signed?
So I had him fill out like the letter. So I had to like bring the letter, and it's just like hopefully it works. But yeah, it was it'd be cool to get like one of our actual buddies, like, you know, books graded and everything, like someone who like hasn't been published before. And I read it and they were pretty cool stories. I mean, I did give him one critique. I was like, listen, it's just like, I love like your loose lines and stuff for commissions. And I told him that. I was like, but I think for like with the colors and everything, I was like, I think you're going to want to tighten those up. Because one of them was like a couple of stories he did, they were really tight on the lines. And then a couple had like the looser lines. I was like, honestly, dude, I was like, I think for these, do the tight lines. But otherwise, you know, for the commission, still do
I do like the commissions. They're really cool.
He's like, it's so funny because he's like, I have so much trouble like not like doing tight lines because I love the loose line look. I was like, dude, I like it too, but like I just think for like the comic story it works better. Yeah. But he had some, it wasn't just like his main character Battle Skull. It was also like he had a couple other stories in there. There was like a Garbage Pail Kid like inspired story, and not about the and then he had this like this other one where it was like this like space battle. It was this like shark versus this like dinosaur thing, and like the commentary was hilarious. I loved it. It reminded me a lot of like the commentary from like the pod racing from episode 1, where they were just like joking around. It was really funny.
Well, but, people should check it out.
Yeah, like so it's on. You can pre-order it if you're in the Long Island area. You can pre-order it at Grasshopper right now. I think he's working on a few other local stores, but you can also hit him up directly at Tom Travers Art, and he is working on pre-orders right now. So make sure you get it out to him as soon as you can.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's all I have for the Geek Beat. Do you guys have anything else?
That's all I got. I'm ready.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sit back, relax, and listen.
All right. Strap in, boys and girls.
TC has prepared a dissertation for us.
Yes, I worked on my college dissertation on comic book buying, and here it is. So I'll be honest with you guys. Up until a few hours ago, today's episode was supposed to be called Comic Collecting 102. It's kind of a continuation of advice that we would give to, you know, the comic community. We were going to talk about UPC labels. We're going to talk about price variance. We're going to talk about, you know, grading labels and their inconsistencies. But we decided to go in a different direction, and we are calling this one Buyer Beware. And it's not going to be actually what you think. We're not going to be calling out other people. Just listen. So this is something that's been going on in the community, and it's been happening for a while now. But recently, we've been noticing it's been getting much, much worse. It's the price gouging happening right now in the comic book market, and it's getting ridiculous, guys. I don't know if, I'm sure we're not alone. There's plenty of people who are highlighting this problem that's going on. But what I want to do is ask you guys a question on this. Who do you think is to blame?
It's the vendors. It's the sellers.
No.
No?
It's you, the listeners, the
So?
buyers. You are all buying at these inflated prices. You are the ones to blame. Now, I'm not saying there isn't market manipulation going on here, but all these books can't be market manipulated. It's just impossible. Now, JJ, I'm glad you said that, because what I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this are saying is, now, wait, it's not my fault. It's the shysters, greedy dealers, and these so-called comic influencers that are causing these books to skyrocket. Well, by no means are they off the hook, but they're the same animals they've always been.
That's been going on since the 70s, 80s, since the beginning.
These are people motivated by not love of the comic culture, but it's just greed. I can see like a lot of these people who do this stuff, and I'm not naming names. We're not giving anyone credit or, calling anyone out. We're just, we're reporting what we're seeing, and we want to just, give our advice on it. Whether you disagree, agree, we're fine either way, But these are the type of people who I could imagine cutting flowers from your garden and trying to sell them back to you. If you buy them, who's the bigger fool? Dealers have had the same stripes since day one, like you said, Toy Story. So their actions at this point shouldn't surprise you. You know what they're going to do. But honestly, I'm not even trying to attack them. The bad vendors out there, we know they're going to get what's coming to them eventually in one way or another. So, I'm not here to attack them. And there's plenty of vendors who, they're good vendors too. It's not all bad. And, some of these people even go as far as say, hey, I'm not a fan of comics. I don't read comics. I'm just here to sell comic books and turn a profit. And you know what? I actually probably respect them the most, because at least they're being honest. Mm. So, what's that?
It's a job to a lot of them too,
And it is. And listen, like, I understand if, you couldn't get into anything else and you kind of fell into it and you don't really love it, but you make a living off it. And listen, if that's the case and you're honest about it, it is what it is. And like I said, again, there are a lot of fair, good dealers out there who love and respect this hobby, who are just trying to keep up with the fair market value. So we can't, I'm not placing complete blame on the dealers, because, they're looking to make money. And, when a book's selling for $6,000, 1 month, and last month it was $5,000. Like, why would they sell it for $5,000? Listen, we try to be fair when we do stuff too, but we love comics. I love reading comics. I love collecting comics. I love looking at my comics, but we still sell. We occasionally sell. We've done a handful of in-person shows. We've done, IG shows, and we buy, and there's books that we buy with high speculation value too, if we can get them, at the right price. But would you classify us as dealers, guys? Would any of you think we're a dealer? No, right? Our primary reason to sell comic books is to buy more comic books.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Every dollar that I made from both sales that we did, I bought comic books with.
Listen, whatever wasn't stolen from me from my wife went back into comic books. I have to pay, my consigliere her fee. So but otherwise, I'm looking to buy more comics with it. It's and you have no choice, because you have to do that, because the major keys now, like, just think of us. We have like pretty good jobs, and we're very lucky in that respect, and we still have to sell books on the side to afford some of these keys. Like, you have to
we just want for our collection too.
And it's crazy. And it's like, a lot of these we're not looking to flip. It's just, I don't know. And on top of that, most of the books that we buy, are stuff that comes right off the comic book racks, or it's like stuff we've cultivated over the years for our personal collection that, we just later on decide to buy because the price climbs so high. It's just like, hey, I'm looking for this book, so, I might as well sell this one so I can afford that one. But, I want to get back to my point. Sorry, I went off topic there, and I was just trying to defend our honor a little bit. But
as people who have sold books before.
yeah, and listen, I'm not saying all people who sell books are bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't sell books.
We wouldn't have books if there weren't dealers.
Right. I like the fact that these are also valuable. It's not the point I'm trying to make. I don't like that I'm not saying they shouldn't be valuable. You shouldn't sell them. And I'm basically saying you can't ultimately blame the dealers because they are only setting the prices. You guys, and you know who you are. I'm not calling out specific people. You guys out there are the ones buying these books at these prices. And Toy Story, you actually said something to me. I don't know if it was yesterday or early today that you said, "Oh, I guess," and this is one of my most hated quotes in the hobby.
It's what everybody says.
Is when people say something is worth what people are willing to pay, and I hate that. It's such a sleazy scumbag like saying, and I'd be willing to bet money that the person who first said this was like some 45-year-old dude living in his parents' basement. Comics have a determined value. There are plenty of resources out there for prices on both raw and graded comics, but sellers and the sellers know all these resources. They look at them, but they keep pushing the envelope higher and higher. And you guys just keep paying whatever they tell you to pay. If this comic pusher, tells you to buy this, if, only one person has that one book you're looking for, you have to have it now. And they're asking $1,000 more than it's going for. You just have to buy it. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can be smart and not do that. You have to stop letting these guys determine the prices because they're going to cause irreparable damage to the hobby. As it already stands, there are people who actually love comic books getting priced out of collecting what they love. Listen, like I said before, we all do pretty well. We're not just being a bunch of grouchy, complaining guys here about the high prices. The fact of the matter is we can still afford a lot of these books and we're very lucky for that because of, all the reasons I said. We have good jobs. We occasionally sell books on the sides that are valuable, but there are people out there who are getting priced out of the market.
Right.
And these are people who truly love comic books, not people who are just trying to be greedy. And I'm saying, the biggest thing that's really worried me is the writing's on the wall. And I think, they're going to ruin this for a lot of people. I mean, it's really upsetting to me. And, I got so worked up about it yesterday. And this happened, the reason this happened, we were looking into like pricing some books. Toy Story was looking to get rid of one of the books in his collection.
I'm looking to finance an AF-15.
And that's basically what it is.
I can't afford an AF-15 by myself, so I need to sell some of my books.
And what we start, that just like by doing some research on that, we started down this path where we've seen within the last, I would say 1 to 3 months, maybe in some cases 5 to 6, there's books increasing $1,000 fold from the previous sale. And these aren't even books that have additional speculation, and that stuff we'll get into other places. I mean, Toy Story, I think you were compiling a list of like the type of books that this was happening to.
There's a couple. And one of them was one I saw today, a sale on eBay. Now, I'll preface this with obviously the data that we have, GPA, whatever. That's all based on, eBay sales, heritage sales. We can't track Instagram sales, right, guys? Especially since those, even as prevalent of those have been.
Right now, I guarantee you that's going to be something that changes very soon.
But, so, X-Men 1. I saw today a CGC 1.8 sell on eBay on an auction for $6,100. That book, that same book, same grade, was $4,000 just in November. I turned down a 4.5 for $6,100 like last September.
That is
a 4.5.
Can you believe that?
Yeah. Now, this is a whole nother conversation, which we'll talk later. Was that market manipulation? Who knows? But it's a sale that's there, that's recorded.
And listen, there's definitely some of that happening. People can say whatever. There's proof out there. There's people digging and finding that there's actually people doing this. So there's a fact that that's happening. And, we don't know on every single thing where it's happening, but it is happening. So that's part of the problem too.
Mm-hmm. Another one. And one that TC's after that, he doesn't know if he's going to be able to get because of this. Hulk 181. He's looking for a 9.0 white pages. Mm-hmm. That book you could have gotten for around $5,000, $5,500, just even September, October. Mm-hmm. Now, last sale this month, $74.70.
Without any reasoning whatsoever.
Yep.
Did you guys hear that Wolverine got casted or the X-Men have been casted for any movie?
It's at the same status it was when Disney bought Fox 2 years ago or whatever that was. So
I mean, from that point, from that bump, and again, this is something we're gonna get into. Like when that happens, okay, I can see a small bump here, right?
That's a 50% bump.
It's crazy.
And I need to, in this grade 9.0, I went back about a year. 7 or 8 copies sell a month in 9.0.
Mm-hmm.
Per month.
And listen, we were looking at this earlier too. When you go year over year since basically 2016, you're seeing only $1,000 a year. And that's fair, especially on a major key. That's fair to see that type of growth on a major character. But
that's what you would expect.
But a 50% bump from going from $5,000 to $7,500, $2,500. Why? And then as soon as that happens, well, now everyone else is going to charge $75,
and they're going to charge more.
$8,000. The only way you can't do it, you're going to get away from it, is if you don't pay it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay it. What else do we got?
It's not like there's a lot of these copies out there. It's not like it's a rare book.
It's not a rare book. I went on this rant many episodes ago that it's not rare.
And the fact that it's not his first appearance. It's we're
not going there.
It's not. I just like it because it's first cover appearance. That's why I find it.
And I got you, but the point is, there are thousands of these books out there.
There's a lot.
And I'm not saying they're all 9.0s or anything else like that, but there's a lot of them out there for these prices. It's amazing.
There's definitely a lot out there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, there was one that both me and Toy Story were looking at very hardcore. What was it in the beginning of quarantine last year?
It was just the beginning of the summer. It was $4,700 for a 9.0.
And it wasn't going anywhere.
Nobody was buying it. We just wanted to buy it because it was such a good price,
And I'll take it to an extreme because a couple of weeks ago I saw somebody post. I guess there was one on eBay. It was a 9.8 of this, and the guy was asking $70,000.
I saw that too. Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say, $70,000 for a Hulk 181, where there's thousands of them out there. You can get something totally better with $70,000.
I'd love to see the numbers on how many 9.8s there actually are.
We can check the census, but I'm not going down that rabbit hole right now.
You're probably right about there being at least 1,000, Jim.
I would imagine there's more 9.8. There's more 9.8s than you imagine.
I don't doubt it. I think you're 100% right.
Mm-hmm. Shall we even talk about Star Wars in the last few months?
I mean, not even the last few months. It's the last couple weeks.
I'm going to tell you first. This is the book, obviously, Star Wars #1, 1978. I turned down a few CGC 9.8 copies last year, the year before, because I was like, $900 for this. It's not my whole thing is this is not I guess it's the first appearance of these characters, but
in a comic book,
it's in a comic, but they're mainly popular from movies. It's not like superheroes where it's vice versa. That's a whole other thing. But I was like, maybe I'll get it one day if I get it for $700. So, beginning of 2020, you could get a copy for $800 to $900. Around beginning of summer, June, July, they went to $1,100, $1,200. This month, last sale, $3,025.
And I know for a fact this one is influencers as well. Because this one's been a big one on the influencers list, and there's not just one influencer. We know, we've mentioned them plenty of times, what influencers we're talking about, but they're not the only ones, really. There are other big influencers out there. And listen, my biggest problem with influencers and this wasn't really part of the topic point, is that if you're going to be an influencer, if you're going to be creating these lists, I think they should have the same rules as CGC and grading companies and CBCS. You're not allowed to collect or sell comic books if you're working for this company, and they're doing something where they're causing prices to go up and down. They have direct influence on the prices in the market, and they should be excluded. They should exclude themselves if they had any honor, honestly, from buying comic books.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And we talked about this just a few seconds ago. It's just like being a stockbroker, if you're in that market, you can't buy stocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, because you have that influence, or you things.
It's 100% the same situation. They're basically insider trading.
Right.
Doing. And not only are they insider trading, is that they own it already, and then they're telling you this thing costs $1,000, and like, oh, and by the way, I have 15 of them.
Yeah. And and I'm sitting there staring at my 9.6 Star Wars #1, going, "What the hell?" Like, I had no idea. Like at $3,000. I mean, come on. What?
Ooh, you don't have a 9.8?
I don't, because it was on my list to get, but not with those prices. I'm not going to spend that much.
I mean, listen, I know to a certain degree, and again, like this is something we discussed earlier, and so I'll go through it kind of quickly. With Star Wars, I understand a little bit the bump, like not to the degree that we're talking about, but Disney is like really developing this property. The show Mandalorian took off, and it shed a lot of light on Star Wars as a whole. Once people said, all right, well, there's this Boba Fett book, well, there's this book, once people start digging into Star Wars, and you are grabbing new fans too. So more people getting into it is going to raise the money, sure. But again, that's not the main cause. It's definitely, other people and, situations. But there's a lot of Star Wars books out there that people weren't interested in. And now that the market is flooded with these new fans, they're like, oh, there's this book, and of course the flippers are there too. It's like, oh, listen, from a flipper point of view, it's just like I've always said, like, collect every single first appearance of anyone. Like if you can get a decent deal, grab it, put it in your collection if it's a nice book, and listen, like it for a while, and if it blows up, that's great. But I don't know. I feel like it's two different things. What we're trying to do and what other people are trying to do. I think, I'm trying to make a buck so I can buy like a really big book. These people are just being so greedy. And the greed, and listen, greed is always going to be something that exists, but it just seems like it's greed to the point of it's hurting the industry and the hobby, and that's what really upsets me.
So two things on that. So going back to Star Wars, I mean, now with the influx of, all these shows that are coming out, now we're getting all these new comic books, so you're getting all these flooded. These books are not even making it on the shelves now. Even the newer stuff, stuff that comes out weekly, they're not even making it to the shelves now because everybody's buying them. And just like your point is, you got these flippers who come in, they don't buy one copy, they don't buy two copies, they don't buy three copies, they buy a handful. Yeah. And then, oh my God, the Facebook Marketplace, hey, I've got 30 copies of this. And and there you go.
And I'll even take it a step further, Jim. Some bad comic shops are probably just holding like 20 of them and selling them and marking them up.
Right. And that's, and that's the other thing you see, like, what was the last book? The
High Republic?
High Republic. Like, I bought 3 of the books on eBay, and I'm not sure if it was
you didn't even buy 3 of the same ones. You bought 3 different versions.
3 variants.
Yeah.
There was 3 variants. It was the regular, but this guy had like 60 of each, and I don't know. I don't think he was a comic book shop because it didn't look. I'm not sure, Matt. I got the name from you.
I just did an eBay search. Yeah.
Like here you got to. This guy probably went into a store, grabbed every single one, and then.
And it's funny because a lot of these shops are limiting. Like I know, like you go to Midtown Comics. They limit a lot of these books to 1 per copy, 1 per person, right?
They do. Some of them they do. It depends on how hot the book is.
It's it really is crazy. I don't even know what to say about it.
And you go back to the market manipulation. You got these people out there, who make these software, these things, and they push these updates out, and oh my God, I got to get it.
Yeah.
And then they buy handfuls.
And the thing with that is too, and like, it's hard again because we're coming from 2 different places, right? Like we all have full-time jobs. Listen, if there's something really hot and I can get 2, like, yeah, I might do it.
We all do that. It's not
I would never go in though and say, oh, you have 20 of this, I'm going to buy
I would never do that.
Like, I just feel like a bad person doing that because I know there's people out there that truly want the book. And listen, like, there's new people getting into it too. And that's the thing that stinks. There's new people who are getting into it and they might want to have like, not even like an AF-15. They may want to have like a book that we consider like a smaller key. And they're just trying to work their way up to it by getting a few of these like new hot keys and they can't even get them.
Right.
It's like an entry level, because that was like one thing I remember when we had like our comic book 101. I was like, hey, start small, pick up a couple weeklies. If you hear something's hot, pick up a couple of them, sell it for $100, buy $100 book, and then just try to keep building and building. Let your collection pay for your collection. And that I'm okay with. Like if someone's like saying, hey, like I'm gonna be a straight shooter with you. I paid this for the book. I'm really looking to get at least that out of it, or a little bit more, so I can buy this book. It's just like, hey, I respect that. I'm doing the same thing. It's just like, but when it's like, oh yeah, I paid, I took this from some old lady. I got the whole collection for like $800. Give me $25,000 for this book. First of all, that's already $5,000 more than what that book is worth. And you basically robbed that from someone to a certain degree. It's just, I don't know. I just, maybe I'm just a different type of person. Maybe some people are okay with that, and it's a dog eat dog world too. I get that. And, some people are okay with doing that. And I know it's not a crime. It seems like a crime to me, but I just don't like it. I just don't like it.
I get it.
What else you got there?
So this is kind of my theory. So I think there's two types of buyers, right? And let's exclude actual manipulators and that stuff from this. I think the first type of buyer you have right now is there's a buyer who doesn't care how much they pay. And I don't know if it's I'm sure there's a lot of different thought process around this. Maybe I don't know if they want to pay a high price just to brag about being the one who got a book, or if they have hooks on a buyer who will pay even more than they paid, or maybe they just can't help themselves. And this is the one that I'm thinking is most likely. They can't help themselves because they want the book so badly they will pay any price. And honestly, there's not much you can say to this group, because there's really no logic behind it. It's just like, they're just going after it. I'm desperately pleading with this group right now. Please stop what you're doing. It's hurting the market. And this is coming from someone who, like, listen, I can probably swing like one or two like really nice big books a year if I wanted to. But, I don't want to pay over what it's going for.
And that's the other thing too, that you have to, which you brought up a good point, and that everybody, has to figure out how to decide. How do you decide what something is worth then?
Yeah. It's a
like, if you go on GPA and you see this book has been consistently selling for $7,000.
Yeah.
Is it worth that? Is it worth that because people are paying?
Because when you go back to like that comic book price guide, like, and that's still something that comes out, right? What do they value like that book for? Not that, right?
Mm-mm.
So, like, listen, to a certain degree, I get it's what it's paying for. Listen, if you give me a valid reason, like, let's say December, the book was $5,000, which it basically was. Like, let's give the example of 181. January, I don't know, like
5,500.
Yeah, let's say Keanu Reeves is announced as Wolverine. All right, it's happening. He's going to be in freaking WandaVision, let's say. I was like, all right, it's a big thing that's happening to the book.
That's a price jump you could see.
Even if it's like a big story, like even if it's something big happens in the comic book, like he becomes like Jesus, I don't know. But, there's a legitimate reason for why that's jumping. When you jump $2,500 in 1 month without any reasoning behind it, that makes me very suspicious.
Here's an example too. Amazing Spider-Man 300.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that jumping so much? Doubling, tripling.
I mean, I know they have the new movie coming out, but
I've had that book for 6 years and it has stayed the same damn price for 5.5 of those years.
I got one. Did I get one the same time as you, or did I get it?
So, yeah. I got mine years ago, yeah. I have a 9.2. Yours is much higher.
Well, only by 2 grades. But I think I got mine in like 2018. And I got it it's doubled in value for sure.
But going back to you're bringing up the GPA and all that. Like, not a lot of people use that or know of it.
That's the other thing too, though. These values that you see, this book sold for, this book is selling for. You're seeing eBay sales, you're seeing Heritage sales, you're seeing Comic Connect sales. You're seeing
everything. Yeah, it's picking up the high marketplaces. It's picking up auction houses,
which I'd argue is the minority of the market now. a lot of deals are private. A lot of deals are on things like Instagram and Facebook now.
I won't say minority, Matt.
You don't think minority?
I think a lot of it still happens. The farthest I'd be willing to go is saying 50-50.
Yeah.
I still think that these are still the bigger places. I think, so the problem is we're becoming very, engulfed in this Instagram world. And
so we see that more.
And as big as it is, we see a lot of that. But I still think there's plenty of people, and you got to remember, a lot of these people, if they don't sell something quickly, they're going to eBay or one of these other places. And, that's where that book winds up unless it's, offered otherwise. Yeah.
But do you think so? Do you think this price fluctuation is due to the fact that there are no shows going on?
It's definitely possible. I do think, and the interesting part is like, will people go to as many shows? I know, we know some vendors specifically who are doing really well with this Instagram selling and other selling, where they're like, hey, I'm not going to do another live show. But when it comes to like, the New York Comic Cons of the world, I think once the world starts opening it up again, I do think we're going to see a little bit, come back to reality. Because you got to remember too, people aren't going on vacation. People aren't, going out to dinner. There's a lot. People are sitting on a lot more money.
Yeah, for the people who are out of jobs and who are having a hard time, there are people who have more money now.
Of course, and there are sellers that realize that, and they're like, well, like I'm gonna pump this up $500. Oh wow, somebody bought that. Next time I sell it, I'm gonna pump it up another $500. Wow, they bought that too, and that's the problem, guys. So listen, let me go into my second point here. So the two types of buyers. The first one are people who don't care how much they pay. So the second one is people who are either, and we touched on this, who are either ignorant of what fair market value is, or the people who are just being taken advantage of. And like we said, guys, there's so many resources, and you have to, you really, if you're going to buy comics and you're going to buy expensive comics, you have to put your research in. Don't get caught up in like, I don't want to lose it to this other person. Let the other person buy it for more than it's worth, guys. Stop being the high watermark. My thing is, going forward, unless there's like an absolute reason I need that book and it's going to be worth a lot more than that, I don't want to be the high watermark in a book. I don't want it showing up on GPA or eBay like, oh, what was the most expensive one sold? Oh yeah, that's the one I bought. Like, don't be the high watermark. And again, unless there's a legitimate reason to increase in value, it's just, refuse to even pay the last sale price, honestly. Like, especially if it looks like a ridiculous price, like the $7,500. It's like, I'm not paying that. It's like, I don't know where that price comes from. I was like, listen, like, I'm in it for like, I'll give you $500 less than that. If you're interested, maybe. If not, I don't even think I offered. I didn't even make an offer. First of all, I'll tell you. And on titles where you can't even see potential for growth right now, like, what was one of the other books we were talking about where there was like, I can't even remember what it is right now, but there was a book that was like really going up in value with like no reasoning behind it. Like, eventually Wolverine and X-Men are going to show up in the MCU. People know that. But like, there's been books where we've seen that just like why? Like, why is this book like $500 more, $1,000 more? It's just like, there's no correlation that it's going to be worth more anytime soon. And like, honestly, the best advice I can give those people, ask someone you trust in the community. If you want to ask us, we'll be honest with you. Ask anybody except for the person who's trying to sell you something. to be completely forward with you guys, like, the person selling something to you isn't going to give you isn't the best person to ask for advice.
But at the same time, like, we have dealers that we trust. We have people who we buy books from all the time.
Right. I'm not saying
we're not trying to screw us. So if you can find someone like that, or if you know someone like that, use them and buy from them. Yes,
I agree 100%. What I was trying to say is like, maybe not always ask advice from the person you directly buy.
Yes, definitely.
Not that, the dealer isn't a good person. Like, listen, there's even people we love. We know that they have the best price. We still confer between each other. It's like, hey, what do you think about that? Is that a good price? Should I do it? I was just like, we have these conversations all day long that happen just within our group.
Yeah.
You have to have like a consortium of people. This is a community. The best part, honestly, about this is it's a community. So you have so many resources. There's so many people who are into it. If you're just one person, start making friends with other people. Try to be. Listen, when I first got into this, I was like a sponge. I wanted to absorb every possible bit of knowledge I could get about it from people of all ages. people who are interested in all different things. You know, we have friends interested in DC, Batman, like literally so many different types of books, you know, Golden Age books, Silver Age books, keys, obscure characters. I mean, we have a very eclectic and very, you know, I feel like well-rounded group of, in our inner circle that really cover a lot of this stuff. And, you know, that's part of why you want to be in it, honestly. You know, develop your own inner circle within the community. Because at the end of the day, guys, you know, we love this hobby and we want to continue to see it thrive. You know, don't let the dealers and the flippers call the shots, because true collectors are really the only ones who have the power to stop this. And I also don't get discouraged from this price thing. You know, don't decide to leave the hobby, because honestly, if you do that, the people who are the bad apples, that's what they want. They want the people who have like this knowledge out of the hobby, because they want to prey on the weaker people. It's true. I mean, you know, I've heard other people say that. It was just like, I really do agree with that. You know, the less informed people, the better for, you know, sellers. You know, we're on two different sides here a lot of the times. There's good sellers 100% and deal with those almost exclusively. You know, and there's people out there who are just trying to get you. And that's never going to change. It's never going to change. The only thing that can happen is that the buyer gets smarter. The buyer gets, you know, more informed, and you stop paying these ridiculous prices for things without any reason. And listen, we harped on it already. If there's a reason books are going up, fine. But, you know, find out why. Look at this. Hey, like, why is this $2,500 more? Do some research. If you can't find a reason, don't pay it.
Yeah.
Guess what happens? It could go down again. So,
and that's the problem with a lot of these. I mean, they're going up really quick. It's going to eventually come right back down.
I mean, if this gets bad enough, it could crash the market again. I mean, it happened once before. In the 90s, it happens again.
Yep.
So how many friends do we have who have been calling a market crash for years now?
It's going to happen.
I mean, there's a lot of people we know where it's just like, and listen, you know, we even spoke to City about it. You know, when City Limits was on here, it's just like, it'd be great for the people who buy it. It's the sellers that would be hurt. So I was like, listen, if I can sell my books, that's okay. I could get more that I want, though. And that's the thing that really makes me happy, is getting the ones I want.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I think that was okay, right? I wasn't too mean, was I? I think it was firm, right?
I don't think it's anything new either, you know?
And it's not. We're just reiterating. So the problem is that it gets, I feel like it balances out for a while, and then it gets crazy again. And then it'll balance out. And right now we're in that crazy spot.
It went crazy quick. That's the problem. Yes. It went crazy a lot quicker than normal.
Maybe it's all the Christmas money going around. I don't know.
Remember last episode we did the top 5 books that we want to get in 2020? Mm-hmm. My list is now down to 1 because I don't think I can get the rest of them now.
It's crazy, isn't it? You know? I got one of them already.
Yeah, that's good. Because you're helping me fund that one.
Yeah, you see, I'm helping the people.
I gave you a great price.
I'm a man of the people. Well, you threw in delivery after an argument, so
yeah, I did.
All right, let's close this out on a positive note and do our review for the last. So let's do the good, the bad, and the geeky 80s review for The Last Starfighter.
Oh, I love this movie.
All right.
How many times have you seen it, Jim?
I mean, a lot. I remember. So this movie came out in 1984, Last Starfighter. I remember seeing the poster.
Yeah, I was born,
and I was like, "This is the coolest thing," because you know the poster had the Star Wars look and feel to it. I thought at that young age, you know.
Was it like an indie movie kind of at the time? It wasn't big budget or anything.
It was not a big budget. But I think it was.
Because what I liked about it is you could the effects were definitely not on the level of like Star Wars.
No.
It was like what's the word?
It's more computer generated. I mean,
it was all 3D animation.
I felt like it had a lot of heart to it. I thought
the budget on this was $15 million back in 1984. I mean, it's still a lot of money.
I mean, you got to think about like how much it must have cost to produce that type of like 3D effects back then. It must have cost them a lot of money. Because think about even like video games and stuff like that. You didn't start seeing like those level of effects until like the 90s. So I was like, it was weird because it looks so different. But I was actually kind of impressed by the level of effects on this. there was a good amount of authenticity with like sets and costumes. I thought some of the costumes were really good. Like, the aliens looked good. It was cool. It was a very, kind of good. Do you want to recap? We always do this.
So Last Starfighter, basically, it's a kid who lives in a trailer park. He starts playing this video game. Alex Rogan. But this video game was basically a test to go fight this race planet people in another galaxy, and Alex Rogan was one of the best, and that's where this comes into play.
It was a pretty cool I did actually like. It was an original idea. I liked it.
The concept is fantastic. I love the concept of this. It brings a lot into the it brings in arcades, video games, space, space fighting, and the story was pretty decent. You can't knock it for being 1984, but it brought a lot of elements in that I enjoy.
Yeah. 100%, I agree. So Lance, the main character, Alex Rogan, he's actually played by Lance Guest. Is he like the only other thing that I really knew him from was Halloween 2? He's not the same guy from Airplane, is he?
No,
that's someone else, right? He kind of looks a little bit like him.
Yeah. Nope.
But yeah, like I think I remember seeing him in like Halloween 2. He was like some random like orderly or something like that. It was just like I haven't seen anything else this guy was in. It's funny, but you know who I did see in this movie that I noticed right away? So Catherine Mary Stewart plays the girl Maggie, and I was absolutely in love with that girl in Weekend at Bernie's. I was like,
what she's from.
I was like, oh my god, I know this girl. I love this girl. I was like, what was it in? What was she on? Because I always get her confused with the girl who's in Wraith, and I think the girl in Wraith is actually the one who plays like the kind of like kinky mom in Stranger Things.
Okay.
But like I always like get those two. And I was like, oh my god, which one is it? I was just like,
I love her. She was like, she was one of those 80s babes. You know what I mean?
100%. As soon as I saw her, I was like, I already like this movie. I don't care what happens in the rest of it.
I mean, you had some kind of somewhat big names in it. She was one of them. Dan O'Hillery.
Yes, the old man, the head of OCP in RoboCop.
Yes.
I can't believe. So he played Grig, like the orange or red alien, and was that him in the makeup? I can't imagine
that was him in the makeup. Yes,
that's amazing that he did that.
I mean, he was huge. I mean,
so like
that.
The guy who picks him up, was he someone big too? Because he seemed like he was, but I didn't know him for anything.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies. I mean, he was in a lot of the Music Man. I mean, I remember seeing the Music Man when I was a kid. I mean, he was in a lot of musicals back in the 60s and the 50s.
He died like 2 years after this movie, by the way.
Yeah, but a lot of comedies, comedies back in those days.
He was a good comedy actor for sure. And I don't know where he was. I must have missed him. But apparently Will Wheaton was in this movie. He plays one of the brothers' friends.
Really?
In the credits. I was like, I don't know. Wow. He must have been like legit in the background.
Lewis's friends. Yeah, look at that.
So yeah, because I was going through the cast list to see if I recognize any other names.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But it was really good. So as we were watching it, the first thing I thought of was like the War Games movie. And I was like, after it was over, I was like, oh, this is so much better than War Games. War Games, I was so disappointed by War Games. I did not like it.
I like that. I don't know why.
War
Games. Yeah, I really like War Games.
But they're two different movies. You can't even compare the two.
But I feel like they have like a similar feel where it's video game related, and he takes over this thing, and he's the only one who can figure it out, and it's just like, I don't know.
When I was a kid, when I saw this, I really wanted the video game. Like, I wanted this game. I wanted to play this game, and there was no game.
Yeah, because it probably would have cost like $10,000 to make like a 3D generated game like that.
It would have been fantastic, and that's what so. Like you said, there's a lot of 3D animation, 3D graphics in this, and for that time, that was pretty new. And I would think that this was probably one of the newer movies, back then, one of the first-ish movies to have that. And they did a really good job on it. You know, there was some still blockiness of the 3Ds, but you know, like the ship, like the Last Starfighter ship, like that was beautiful. The whole animation, like that was really clean. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and the thing I always like to take into account, especially when we do these 80s ones, is you have to remember like when it was done, and like compare, like, and you can't compare things to Star Wars because Star Wars was on another level, but it's just done really well, and like, you know, they were bringing in like kind of a new technology, and it was just like, listen, like if I saw that in a movie now, I'd laugh it out of the theater.
Yeah.
Like,
I was enjoying the hell out of those effects.
I was like, that was just cool. Like back in 19, I was like, whoa, like I don't remember seeing anything like that. And I never saw this movie as a kid. I don't know how I missed this, but I don't remember seeing anything like that until like the 90s. Like, you know what the video game really reminded me of? Star Fox. That was the first time I remember seeing a video game that looked even closer to that.
But these graphics were a lot cleaner than that.
Yeah, they were. Because it was also probably pre-recorded and you're not actually playing.
But even still, like, how cool of a name to call a ship a Gunstar. Like, that is a cool name for a ship.
It was pretty cool.
Gunstar. But yeah, I mean, it had a lot of different,
You know what scenes, like, I was like watching, I was enjoying them. The scene where I was like, whoa, was when he was what was his name? The alien, the robot was in his bed.
Beta Alex?
When Beta Alex was in the bed for the first time, and then he pulled the cover off and you saw his face.
I was like, that was pretty grotesque.
I was like, those effects for this kind of movie, I didn't expect that.
and even him when he took his head off and put it on the thing, like
that was really cool. Yeah,
he's trying to look for where. I mean, you know that the dad
he's underneath there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. But you know the way that the camera position,
it's old school. It's so cool.
The practical effects are I really love like finding out about like how they do the practical effects. It's just so cool.
And you're not all over the place. You're either in the trailer park or you're in space. So there wasn't a lot of location direction. Like it was pretty straightforward. Yeah. And I kind of like movies like that. Like it doesn't take away from the actual story or what's going on.
I mean, so to some degree, it was like almost oversimplified, but again, like it was totally enjoyable. Like it didn't try to do too much for what it is. And there's a lot of movies when you get it like that, like in that genre, especially where they're just trying to do too much at once. And it's just like, here we go. But I think I actually love like him better as like the Beta Alex. The Beta Alex was probably my favorite character, more so than like regular Alex. Like the robot version of him was so cool. He goes, like, do you want me to stick my tongue in your ear again thing? I was like, what? Like, who's doing that?
All the other girls had nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah, when he's replying, he's like just listening to what the other guy is saying. That was great.
So, you know, it's been in talks for a long time. And I think, you know, it's back up on the board again, but there is supposed to be a part 2 to this. It's always been a part 2. And I haven't looked it up in a while, but I think it's still on somebody's desk for a part 2 to this movie. Because really, I mean, they left it open. They did leave it open. I mean, you know, the bad guy, the one guy, he did get away on the escape shuttle, and you know, we can go from there. But you know, it's such a great movie. I love this movie.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Who wants to go first? So the last time that we do youngest to oldest.
So oldest to youngest.
Yeah, we'll do oldest to youngest this time. So you know what that means? I never have to go first.
That's right. Me? I'm gonna give it a 9.6.
Wow. Okay.
I love this movie.
Okay. I mean, hey, you know, it's to each their own.
You know, it's you know, it just watching it again like yesterday, it just brought back a lot of good memories. Because I mean, I've seen this movie so many times, and it's one of those movies I can keep watching. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And even though you know what's going to happen, it's just a fun movie.
Yeah, I'll totally agree with you because you know there's definitely some movies that we've watched and I was just like, yeah, I just don't need to ever watch it again. Like, what was the first one that we watched? The Kurt Russell movie.
My favorite. I've watched that twice since then. The Thing.
I was like, yeah, I don't ever need to watch The Thing again. I really did like it. I don't know if I'm gonna give a higher grade as you, JJ, but I'm gonna give it a solid 7.0. I think that's a really strong grade for it, and I think it's right about where it should be. It's definitely for me. It's a fun movie, and I would 100%, if you've never seen it and you enjoy 80s movies, definitely check it out.
Yeah.
For me, any movie that's a solid movie that I thoroughly enjoy, and that's about it, which was this, is 7.5 for me. So that's what I'm going.
I was between 7 and 7.5, but
Yeah.
you know what it is?
It was definitely good. It's not like, to me at least, it wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't anything stellar, but I enjoyed the hell out of it.
A solid 80s.
And,
So I'm reading as of October of last year that it's the Last Starfighter writers say there is a sequel that's still moving forward. Looks like one of the co-writers did Rogue One.
That's promising.
So I mean, we'll see.
The crappy part is though, like once you get that far along in time, do you almost want to see like a movie like this with updated graphics? Because you can't go back and do those same type of graphics, but at the same point, like you almost lose the feel that the movie had. It's interesting. It's an interesting.
I would rather see a part 2 than a reboot of this. I don't want to see a reboot.
That's fair.
I think reboot for me, reboots usually ruin the last movie, the original. So I'd rather see a part 2. And yeah, I mean, for 1984, those were extremely advanced graphics, 3D animation, whatever.
Especially for a lower budget movie like that.
Right. 2021, if you're going to do this movie, let's get it 2021 up there. Like, give me something.
Similar to Blade Runner, what they did with the new Blade Runner. How it was like 2021 effects with, 80s effects.
But that was a reboot. So that,
No, it wasn't. It was a continuation.
That was. I'm sorry. Yep.
And I agree. I totally agree with you, Jimmy. I do like the idea of continuations over reboots, especially with something like if something was like bad, I'm okay if you want to reboot it. But if you have like a link to something and like you always enjoyed it as a child, like if someone ever said like, "Hey, we're gonna reboot Ferris Bueller," I was like, "No, you're not."
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna give an example. Like I liked the Arnold Schwarzenegger Total Recall.
Oh, 100%.
I hated the reboot.
I've never even seen it, Jim.
It's dope. It's just or Judge Dredd. I hated the reboot of Judge Dredd.
Oh, I heard the Judge Dredd reboot was fantastic.
I didn't like it. I liked
Yeah.
I guess
Judge Dredd something where it's just like I could take a reboot of that.
Yeah, I like the original.
The problem is he wasn't very close to the comic. Like
he wasn't.
You've read some of that too, right? Judge Dredd.
A little bit, yeah, not much.
I think Bojo is the big one.
He is, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, let's see a part 2 to this movie. Last Starfighter 2. Let's do it.
All right. Well, this is probably going to be one of the shortest episodes we've had in a while.
Probably.
I hope I haven't scared away listeners going forward. I do want to let you guys know before we close it out. So we have surpassed 100 subscribers. I don't know where we're exactly out at right now, but it's like maybe 107 or something like that.
We just got a new one a few minutes ago.
Nice. Oh, awesome. So
Thank you, whoever that was.
We do have a giveaway. Actually, you know what? I think it popped up. I'm going to give this person a shout out.
Bell.
Let's see. It was Bruce Leroy. Bruce Leroy, you're the man. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting. We appreciate you, buddy. So there you go. Shout out done. But we will be doing we're doing a giveaway. It's going to be for, I don't have it in here, but it is it's a Miles Morales GameStop kind of like mystery box thing. It doesn't, I think the only thing missing is the sticker because I put that on my sticker door, but everything else is in there. You get the pop, you get the Pez figure, you get the keychain, and there's like a pin. So all that you get absolutely free, shipped to you. I didn't specify if we would do outside shipping, but if it's not like $1,000, I'll ship it to you, whatever. It's just mainly a thank you guys for supporting us. We're going to do the giveaway on February 5th. That's Friday, February 5th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll wind up doing like, one of those auto-generated, what do they call them? Randomizers. And whoever wins will get the box and we'll reach out to you. But we still haven't heard anything about our Best of LI 2021. They're apparently still compiling all the votes, but if you did vote, and you did vote many times, especially, we thank you guys so much for doing that. We'll keep you posted on what happens there. Do we have any other big announcements going on? We have a couple of you know what happens every time you do that, right? But you don't, because you don't watch the episodes afterwards. I have
a fish dies.
No. I counter your message. Yeah, but do you guys have any other announcements? We do have a book club coming back, hopefully. So just so you guys know, we did read Ready Player 2. We never reviewed it. I think the consensus was all of us did not like it. So
we're not doing it.
It's not recommended.
We're not doing it.
We didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. I don't know. Toy Story might be asleep. Did you enjoy it? No.
Nope.
All right. So again,
we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah. we chose the book, right? What are we doing for
the next one?
book club?
We're doing Daredevil: Born Again by Frank Miller.
That's right. I got to start reading that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic run from the '80s. Defined a ton of stuff that came after it. Very exciting.
Excellent. So maybe we'll actually do that one.
We'll do that one.
Club for that one. And as always, we have a couple more exciting episodes planned for you guys. We won't announce them yet. We'll let them be a little bit of a surprise. But if you're not already, make sure you're following us on IG and Facebook at LI Comic Guys and at Don't Feed the Geeks podcast. And if you're listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit a thumbs up. Give us a way to go, fellas, in the comments, or say you didn't agree with what we said about the comic books or the dealers, or if you're an angry dealer, you can reach out to me directly and we can meet in the pizzeria and hash it out.
Yeah, or we get a dealer on the show, or get a dealer on the show and hash it out. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's get down and dirty.
I'm game with that.
But that's it from me. So you guys have anything else?
No, I think we're good.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, remember,
don't feed the geeks.